Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Emily.
Today we're doing our midterm. So we watched all the films, but we're talking about The Stutterer and The Baby. So we're going to talk about The Stutterer first. So this movie is about a man that has a really bad stutter, and you see that he's been talking online with this girl, and that he is very nervous to meet up with her in person, and that's kind of what builds the tension of the movie. And then also sometimes he pretends to be deaf so that he doesn't have to talk to people because it's just easier. And then at the end it's a twist that you find out that she's also, or that not she's also, that she is deaf. But throughout the movie he's really anxious, so you kind of think that he's nervous because she's gonna hear his stutter.
Or you think you don't know if she knows.
Yeah.
How aware they are.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought was she didn't know about it, and that's why he was so nervous. But then at the end you kind of think that maybe she does know something, maybe not.
Yeah, but we're not sure if, because you know that he's learning sign language, and we assume that it's for the stutter in the beginning, and then at the end you can say maybe it's because she's deaf and he knows it. You also said something that you thought that he found out she was deaf in the message that she was.
Oh yeah, that was the first time I saw it, but maybe he knew.
Yeah, because he was practicing so much sign language.
Yeah, but I think the first watching I wasn't sure when he found out she was deaf.
But I wasn't sure if whether he's told her that he's also deaf.
Yeah,
or whether he's I'm mute, or if he's told her that he has the bad stutter. I don't think we ever really know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that important to the story.
Okay, so some things we want to talk about. Cinematography. I feel you were saying the music did a lot of the work of the movie.
Emotional labor.
Emotional pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it also did a lot of close-up shots of his face, so that you feel you really get into his head and know what emotions he's experiencing.
Yeah, the actor had very expressive eyes and.
Yeah. But yeah, those close-up shots help you see into the mind of the character, and it kind of relied a lot on that, and then on the music to build emotional pull.
Yeah, and the use of a non-stuttering internal monologue.
Yeah.
Also really interesting, added in later. And then we also had a point of contention about the things that he was saying, the alphabet and stuff.
Oh. Well, I just wasn't really sure if it was. I don't know. It was kind of a lot of things I feel were kind of nebulous, or well, because when I first watched it, and now I see that there was foreshadowing of it, but I wasn't I didn't know for sure she was going to be deaf, and so I thought he was just practicing in his head so he could say it to her. So when he walked to his dad's, he was saying music is the pleasure. So I thought that's kind of what was happening at the end. But then I think on a second watch, what you said also makes sense.
Yeah, I thought with the letters it was him practicing sign language, because a lot of times sign language, when you don't have if you don't know the word for something, you just spell it out with sign language.
Yeah, and his hands weren't in the shot, so he could have been doing that and we just wouldn't have seen it.
Or even just thinking about it the way he was thinking about the phrase. With music, when he was doing music is the pleasure, I assumed in the beginning that it was one of the speech exercises, because when you have a bad stutter, you go through speech therapy, and they give you speech exercises that you can say and stuff. So I assumed that was it in the beginning, but then he said the thing to his dad, so I guess he was just really practicing the conversation.
Yeah. And so then also we talked about what is the archetype of this film, or what is this film trying to say. And so at first it's kind of I guess the overt archetype or theme is boy meets girl, or this quintessential romantic love plot line. But then so there's also he clearly has a conflict kind of with himself, as well as with a society that kind of marginalizes people with speech impediments or speech difficulties.
Really?
Yeah. So then there's a couple different layers there, and we were saying the kind of the least interesting part of it is the love story, and it's more interesting as a commentary on disability. And then, yeah, that's kind of too, like, the protagonist-antagonist thing. Like, the antagonist could be himself, because he has that bit in the mirror, too, about, like, self-pitying, and
his
he,
confidence issues are very clear throughout the film.
Yeah, especially once you know that she's deaf, like, then it becomes more clearly a confidence.
Like, I think, did we already say that in the beginning you think that it's, like, she doesn't know that he has a stutter and he doesn't want to show her. But when you know that she's deaf, it's like, why? What was the issue with meeting her? And then it becomes more of, like, a self-confidence or possibly, like, mental health, like, anxiety issues.
Yeah.
You don't really know.
So, like, that could... Well, I guess it could have more than one antagonist, too, of, like, him, man versus himself, and then also man versus a society that has, like, made him feel marginalized, and that, like, because of how we treat people with speech difficulties, that, like, increases his anxiety about being able to talk to other people or, like, having a speech difficulty.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is important, but this is one of the things that I was thinking about was also that, like, putting on the, like, deaf persona where, like, he pretends to the woman who asks him a question that he's deaf, which is, like, a physical disability, is also interesting, whereas like a stutter is more of a, like, mental disability, more of an issue. So it's interesting that, like, it kind of says that, like, physical are more acceptable in society, or, like, we're more, I don't know, taught to see that as normal.
Yeah, or to, like, be understanding of it, because, yeah, when you're talking to, like, it also, like, being deaf, you would think would make your life more difficult than having a stutter, or, like, it's a more, like, technically, like, regarded as a more serious disability, and so to have, like, him put on that persona is an interesting, like, commentary on, I don't know, like, having those communication
I do, I have an uncle that has a severe stutter, and I've never, like, talked to him that much about it, but he does say that we've talked before about how he can tell when people are, like, really annoyed with him, and people don't really, like, view it as much as something that's just, like, a thing that he has and something that he's stuck with. People view, like, stutters more as something that, like, you can control, and they, like, get really annoyed with him, and it's just, like, the way, like, he's, like, a 65-year-old man, like, he's not gonna change at this point. This is his, like, life, and this is a real thing that he deals with. I don't know. And people just don't really perceive it that way. People see it more as, like, a just thing that people can control, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's, like, that's the same way we react as a society to, like, tons of mental health issues, like depression, anxiety, all that. We don't really view it as, well, I guess we're getting better, but
it's interesting too how, like, that they kind of emphasize that with, like, the whatever company he was on the phone with, and how, I don't know, like, there's still not even a lot of accommodations. Like, I don't know how you would handle that type of thing if you're deaf also, but it just, like, he's just trying to have a conversation, like can't even wait for him to finish a sentence before the woman, like, hung up on him, and then his dad has to, like, call on his behalf too, which is, like,
and those are the only times we see him get through, because he makes the call a lot of other times and they just leave him waiting. The only times he gets through, or they hang up on him, or they, like, are talking to his dad and they're not even helping at all, which is help lines.
So it's kind of, I don't know, like, the boy meets girl storyline, like, that's kind of why we're saying it's not as interesting, because it's, like, I think it's better, like, when you can talk about, like, the broader implications of what it means for, like, people with disabilities, than, like, I don't know, just, like, him, like, having, like, it's like a rom-com with, like, a little twist of, like, her being deaf and him having a stutter. And then also, like, that isn't really resolved as much at the end. Like, you never know what she knows about him. Like, you don't know if she thinks that he's deaf or mute, or I think we said that, but, like, I don't know. But it does seem resolved that he has, like he was having all those anxious thoughts, and then they kind of, like, fade when he sees her.
Oh, that's the classic boy meets girl. With, like, the tirade of thoughts, and it gets really, like, frantic, and then he sees her and it all goes away, and the music plays.
Yeah.
That's the...
But, yeah, that's kind of also why I thought it was more of the, like, resolving that side of like his anxiousness about his disability, but doesn't like wrap up as much the like boy meets girl plot line. Anything else?
I mean, there's like the couple like just parts that, like the snap judgments were really interesting to me, where like he sees these two random people and he like has these really nice things like thinks about them, and then he sees himself and it's like really self-deprecating and sad. I don't know, just like he's a nice person and I think he wants people to like view him in that positive way.
Yeah.
And he can't get the word out. And then just the like having like these two people who like explicitly say that they like words, and like he like works in like typography and he has all these books. We see like Gabriel Garcia Marquez, like all these like really good books around him. I love that author. But and like is these two people that really love words, like explicitly say that they love words and they like can't express themselves through speech, which is like an interesting way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we weren't sure exactly what that meant, but it is,
it's saying something.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the other one now?
Sure.
Okay. So now we're gonna talk about the baby. Oh wait, actually no, we have to give it a review. We thought that it was like a 7 out of 10.
Like it was. Yeah, there were parts that were good.
What was like a weakness of it? I guess like the like having the romantic subplot do a lot of the work of, because I think that's kind of unrealistic too. Like people always, I don't know, people think that if you meet like the right person, it will help you like overcome all of these personal issues in your life, which I just feel like is not true, and like kind of creates some like unrealistic expectations.
He had stuff he had to work through. He needed to.
And so it kind of resolves his anxiety, but I felt like that wasn't like that's not what would really happen. No one's gonna like save you from your disability, unfortunately. So I don't know. I thought I didn't. So maybe I think that's kind of like why we docked it to a few points, but it was
and just because it was kind of cheesy.
That's part of why it's cheesy. But it was like an enjoyable film to watch.
It was cute. You rooted for him. He was a good main character.
Okay, now we're actually gonna talk about the baby. So, do you want to give the synopsis of this one?
So basically, it opens up on this young woman in Iran, and she has this baby in a suitcase, and then she meets her friend, and essentially, like, she had this baby out of wedlock, and she needed to like leave it with one of her friends or someone over like a weekend or so, because her parents are coming and they don't know about the baby, and her friend's trying to help her, and eventually she leaves it like in her friend's dorm, and then like it closes on the shot of her like crying on the bus, which is very, very heartbreaking, and you can tell like she's really struggling and all of that.
Okay, so I guess we can start again with cinematography. So this film is shot like a documentary, basically. Like it's kind of like one. Is that what's called single camera, or like it's like it follows them around and it's not totally like stable camera and stuff. And so that kind of added to like the realism of it, and it felt very like grounded in reality and like kind of not like you were really watching actors, except when they were carrying the fake baby.
The fake baby looked so fake. I couldn't really get past. Like in the beginning, I was like, "What is that?" I thought the baby was gonna be like a fake thing, and it was gonna be part of it. That it was like not a real baby. But then you see the actual baby, and I was like, it was just a bad fake baby.
So apart from the fake baby, it felt like you were watching like kind of like real people go about their lives, and I think that the camera like added to that. And then also kind of like in the Stutterer, the music was important in this one for like creating emotional pull, and like dramatizing it.
And the lighting, I think, was also really good. Like the color used, it was a like very well shot film, pleasing, and also it's really sad. And they did like the close up cuts, kind of the same way the Stutterer did too. Where like on her face, and you really feel for the main character.
So this one doesn't really get resolved at the end. And I don't know, maybe there is some resolution that I'm not seeing, but I think that it was kind of effective because it's not like cleanly wrapped up because it was
more like real life.
Yeah, that's what you're saying is like, I don't know, all of it very much felt like something that like probably has happened to a lot of people, unfortunately, and like there is no like clean ending to that when like your life, like that's what has happened to your life, and so like I don't know, just her having it end on her breaking down crying, but like you don't actually know what she's gonna do next, but she's just like very much stuck in this situation. So I don't know, because I guess there is no like there's no like plot twist at the end, or there's no like it's very much like it's kind of happening the whole time, but it's like very sad, and conveys like the message well.
Yeah.
It's okay. And then so the big thing of this movie is like social commentary. So I don't know, the director talked about this too, of like this conservative culture in Iran. And also, I mean, so the movie is about Iran, but it's kind of something that you could like, this has happened to like women in a lot of different places have like found themselves in this situation.
And like to a lesser extent in the US, like you wouldn't be able to like, you wouldn't have to like not go to a hospital to have your baby in the US just because it's like doesn't have a father, but or like out of wedlock. Anyway, also we like never really find out anything about like the past because it's just a snapshot of like 3 hours of the day. We don't know like where the baby came from or what happened there.
The director I was reading, he said he left it like that on purpose. Yeah. Like they didn't want you to know. Which I think that too like universalizes it.
But that's also one of the things where like people think of like women having illegitimate children or whatever, like out of wedlock. It's like more acceptable if it was like an assault story, which is like really sad, and all of this that we like don't like. Some people would probably view this as like more of a sad story if they like thought that it was because that she was assaulted and not because she like had a relationship with someone who then like ran out on her when she had a kid, because that's like less acceptable and like it's not okay for women to like, I mean, it's just like because of the conservative culture where like women shouldn't really be having sex out of marriage.
So it's kind of just a commentary in general on like when you live in a society that like views like premarital sex like that and being a single mother, all of these things, on like the extreme constraints that it places on like a woman's life. And then also, you mentioned this, it's interesting how basically like there's like a man in like one background scene, but anyone that they interact with is also a woman.
And all the people they call for help are like, we assume, other like young female university students, and like her friend is like a little bit begrudgingly and kind of rude at points, but like clearly has been like helping her through this the whole time and like by her side and like really trying to be there for her, like commentary on how women are honestly like more, I mean, I guess understanding about women's issues, obviously.
Yeah, and also just there's like, I don't know, when you live in a culture like that, like, and when it's like you're like so oppressed and like, I don't know, like men can do no wrong, kind of like how women create these support networks for each other, which is really nice.
Well, it's kind of like, what you were talking about with Moonlight, with like the little revolutions within like the society that you're forced into. They kind of like sneaking the baby into the dorm and like all of the other young women who lives alone, like who can we find to like help out. It's like the little revolutions against like the society that you're forced to be in and you can't really fully break free from.
Yeah, and I also think too there was like kind of a commentary going on like younger versus older generations, because like her friend at the beginning, which I didn't catch the first time, but she's like her mother like didn't want the baby in the house, which was like why the original friend that was supposed to take it like couldn't take care of the baby anymore. And then like she's in this whole situation because of her parents, because she has to hide the baby from her parents, and they have to hide the baby from the older woman at the dorm. So it's kind of like, that's an interesting commentary too on
where like all the women that they call are more like accepting. They don't, I mean, they probably have little comments about stuff, but they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't take it, or the one woman is like, yes, I can help.
And yeah, I guess like changing, like how, like that changing culture over time. Yeah. Yeah, then so I guess the protagonist and antagonist falls along those lines of like it's her versus this society or like this greater culture. Yeah, because I don't know, like if she wasn't in this culture or like didn't have parents that would be like ashamed or like disown her or whatever, like then this wouldn't be the same problem.
Yeah.
Like it's always hard to have a kid on your own, but like she's like feels so stuck and like so sad because of like this overarching thing that's controlling her. Oh, also the baby's a girl. That's another interesting choice. Yeah. Yeah, I think that I mean, there could be some commentary there, too, on, like, I don't know, like, it's more acceptable to have a boy in some cultures than it is to have a girl. And I don't know, like, it bonds them to each other.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, maybe a lot of her sadness is for the fact that what she's dealing with is something that she realizes her child will deal with eventually as a young woman in the same society. And she obviously, like, feels very trapped and doesn't really feel like she has any options. And, I mean, we don't know what happens at the end. We just know that she's really, really, really sad.
Yeah.
And can't, like, doesn't know how to deal with. I'm assuming that's what part of it was.
Yeah, so I think that I don't know, maybe the commentary was a little overt in this one.
Or maybe there's something we're missing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that it conveyed, like,
Yeah.
the situation well.
Yeah.
It's because there wasn't any, like, big narrative turns or anything. Like, it was really just trying to show, like, this, like, day of, like, a struggle in a woman's life. Yeah. So I think that it did that effectively.
It was really sad. I felt so sad watching it. You just want to, like, help her, and you can't even, like, when you think about it, there's, like, no way to really get out of the situation. I mean, she can tell her parents and then possibly get disowned. Like, there's not really any.
Yeah, and also you kind of don't know what she's gonna do because like the baby's not even like registered as like existing because she didn't have the baby at a hospital.
Maybe the resolution is that there is no resolution because there can't be.
Yeah.
She has no way of making it resolve. This is so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? I don't know if I'm trying to think what else we talked about.
There wasn't really any kind of arc.
Yeah.
Because it was like basically 3 hours out of one day, and we just see, like, nobody really changes or anything.
Yeah.
We just see her. I thought it was good though.
Yeah, wait, but I guess there isn't really enough.
Yeah.
Isn't there?
I don't really think so.
Yeah. Because, again, like, it's too short of a time frame, really, to have, like, real character growth anyway.
I mean, it was a commentary. Like, that was obviously it was like a vehicle. The story was a vehicle for this commentary. It wasn't really meant to just be a story about her.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
Me neither. Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of sad too because even if she has these people helping her out, like, it's not a long-term solution. And yeah, so it's like, I don't know, like she has these friends that are willing to help her, but that's still not gonna like fix the situation, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that maybe that's. Oh wait, we gave this one a 9 out of 10.
It was really good.
Yeah, we
feel something.
I don't know, and it was so realistic, and I think it did. Even if it maybe didn't touch on like every single thing that like I don't know that we talked about in films, it did. Like, what it was trying to do was effective, and, like, what it was trying to say came across. So that's kind of why we thought it was effective, even if it was just, like, a small little piece of someone's life. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.